Hey guys, what's cracking? Coming at you with the second installment of the custom card review series, which it's finally here. There's been a little bit of delays with it, but I'm happy to say that we finally managed to get it all together, fix all the issues, and so now you have me and your boy, AssaultRider555, reviewing these lovely cards. How are we doing?
Yeah, well, I'm doing fine. And, there has been like an unfortunate accident in the production of this video, but it's fine. We're going to attempt to do this again, and hopefully everything will be fine this time. And we hope that you guys will enjoy this video this time.
True, and hopefully we can enjoy all these cards because there may or may not be a couple unfortunate accidents down in the comment section here. So let's see what everyone's... No, but in all seriousness, these were pretty good, I'd say. So starting off, we've got Depressed Espresso with Chrono Deity, Guardian of Gears of Fate. So this one is a Shrine for Zodiac Timepiece, and it has a couple pretty cool skills. So first one is Continuous in G-Zone. If you've got a Zodiac Timepiece fan, all of your ZTBs get skills based on the number of this guy face up. So if it's 1 or more, then they get 2k. If it's 2 or more, they get plus 5k shield, and their triggers give plus 5k additional power when they're drive checked. So Hypno Sheep looking at you. And 4, during your turn, this unit gets an extra crit. So again, that's for all the Zodiac Timepiece you got. So second skill is an act from the Vanguard Circle or the G-Zone. Once per turn, you Soul Blast 1 Zodiac Time Beast, and you flip up any card in the G-Zone. All your ZTBs will get 5k in the front row, and if this guy did this from the Vanguard Circle, you can also CB1 and bind a card from hand after it attacked in order to call 3 ZTB cards and call them to open rear guard or add them to your hand. That was a lot. So fortunately, we have the benefit of already reading these at least once thanks to the botched video last time, so we already have a pretty good impression. So what would you say are your thoughts on this?
So, clearly this is, ZTB support, like the much needed ZTB support that is missing from last time. While the idea is fine, the problem I have with this is that it can stack. I'm pretty sure that's not the impression of the card maker, but all of these effects can stack because it's in the G zone, which means if you have 3 face-up cards, everything will get a pretty huge buff, which is, well, considering the power level of ZTP, it might not fit well. This thing turns your triggers into 10Ks. It makes your all your guards, magic numbers, hit magic numbers. And they all get an extra crit.
Yeah, at least the crit isn't stackable because you need all 4 of them. That's good. Yeah.
They're all stackable.
Yeah, they're all stackable. I mean, the crit isn't stackable thanks to it requiring 4. You can't have more for this guy. But yeah, I agree. This first skill, I think the intention was that you wouldn't get more than 2k each and all that. Yeah.
No. But the thing about the way this is worded is that each copy of this card will activate all of its effects. So if you have 2 copies, all of the effects activates. So which means if you have 4 of this face up, everything will get 4 crit.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah, okay, this would be busted. And you just couldn't let that happen. So yeah, I think we're pretty clear that the intention here is that he wanted it just all to accumulate for 1 check. More or less. So assuming it's just for 1 check, I would say this card is pretty nuts. I'd say if this was 1 check and this was corrected, this would be a 9, but otherwise this is kind of busted and goes down to a 3.
The way that the wording here is kind of awkward. I get what they were trying to do with this, but this is a bit too much. Like but the wording is probably like too awkward to changes. So what I would do here is like make it a flat rate, as in like if there's 1, it gets 1k. 2, it gets 5k shield. Yeah, I think that's fine. And trigger unit gives an additional plus 5k. So now that would be changed to your zodiac time based trigger units will give 10k power instead of 5k.
Yeah, I do like the first skill for what it's trying to do, though. I do like it because it's like, yeah, ZPTs are like 11, now they're like 13. That's important. The extra shield trigger stuff is really good for like Hypno Sheep and whatnot, because enabling Hypno Sheep is like important. Like really important. And I wish Avatar was also ZTB, but yeah, the crit is whatever. I think the crit isn't really so important, although it's really good for a multi-attack deck. So yeah, again, I think I'm going to give this okay. Sorry, go on.
Like, so like the crit plus can change like to this unit's critical becomes 2, like force 2.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that'd be another way of balancing out. Like, yeah, it can be balanced as like wide eye impression. So I think because I rank personally, I rank less on balancing and I rank more on the creativity aspect and how well do they kind of show an understanding of what a support should do. So I think from that aspect, I'm going to give this an 8.5. Although realistically, it should be a fair bit lower due to how over the top it is, but I'm gonna be a bit nice here with this because I think this does like understand CPT.
Yeah, but we haven't checked like the second skill yet. We haven't talked about the second skill much.
I mean, but I mean, what are your impressions? I don't really have much to say.
Okay, but like about that first skill, like if it were to get the changes I mentioned, it can like change it to Vanguard Circle just so you can get the 2k power early because the power increase is changed to 1k instead. But other than that, I think it's fine. About the second skill, is like really good. It's essentially like an Aveni Phoenix that you can search. So it either pluses or falls like Aveni Phoenix, except that Aveni Phoenix doesn't plus. But honestly, I'm kind of doubtful about this, like about this skill. But it does say open rear guard. So like to be able to call all of that, you need no open rear guard system. But like that's still 3 cards to hand, and you can add whatever zodiac time beast you want.
Yeah, that right there. Yeah, this is a fascinating skill because whatever synergy I would think this would have with, which would be things like Gear Next or Gear Groovy, it actually doesn't have synergy with the way this is worded. So I would say that the balancing on the second skill is actually like pretty good. I actually like the balancing of the second skill a lot more than I like the first skill. The first skill I just like more because of the attention to like what the deck needs more than like the second one having attention to detail on how to make it work properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that the core concept of this card is fine. It does, both skills do need a little bit more balancing, but I think it's fine. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Nice. So that time beast does need support.
Pretty badly. Alright, so next up, Manran. So Manran's got a few things for us. He's got Marshal General Surging sees Alexandros, so it's a V Alexandros. First skill, just like Lambros, gets -1 grade in the hand, so it's a 3 essentially. Unlike Lambros though, when it's placed on Van Circle, presumably by Thavis, you only get to stand one of your rear guards. But the reason why is because with the third effect, when it attacks, you counterblast 1, soul blast 1 to stand up 2 rest rear guards. and for each of your other rest rear guards, they get +2 can to unaturn. So it really is basically like an adaptation of the Stride Lambros. Although admittedly, not Stride Lambros, Stride Alexandros, but admittedly, I'm not as impressed by this one because in a lot of ways it's similar to Lambros, but so similar that the fact that I find that its benefit is not quite as great makes it a little like I think it needs more to distinct itself from Lambros, because really like all you're getting with this is you have the option of and I think you'll bring this up too, is you have the option of standing up coral assaults, which is really cool because if you have 2 coral assaults in the front row, then okay, this is really poggers, and that makes for a more aggressive rush. So you probably use this after Lambros, but after like aside from that, it's like yeah, okay, I mean it's okay. I'm gonna like defer to you on this one because you are more of an Aquaforce dude. But I'd say my impressions after looking at this for a while is probably like a 7. You know, it's kind of the baseline for
me. So like when it comes to recently coming out rearguard restanders for Aquaforce, they tend to balance not just the restanders, but like most of the cards in V Aquaforce, there are balanced around having Coral Assault, because Coral Assault does carry a lot of Aquaforce's rest attack. So like when it comes to this, I see what it's trying to do. Like this thing can restand 2 Coral Assaults, which is something that Lambros cannot do because they want to balance Lambros around Coral Assault, which is fine. But in terms of power level, I don't really see a lot of reason of playing this over Lambros, because like it can attack the same number of times, +1 obviously, but the power gain here is not really that significant. Power gain is not really that significant. In terms of power, there's really no reason to play this over Lambros, because Lambros can get really huge columns still, because with this thing you're not going to be able to restand your back row. So but at the same time, having more attacks in exchange for less power is a pretty good idea. Just that it needs just a slight buff, like maybe 3k instead of 2k.
Something, some other extra benefit to like make it stand out as a as a better target for Lambros in some situations. Like I do like the fact that this isn't attempting to overshadow Lambros, but I think it actually doesn't do it as well as I would. So yeah, I think I'm going to stand by the 7. What would you say your ranking is?
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah,
like it's trying to not overshadow Lambros, but it instead overshadowed itself
in an odd way. Yeah, that's a really good point. So he's also got Hungering Void Dragon Cosmic Crunch, but he actually edited Crunch because he felt that it's not quite fun and a little bit overbalanced, although spoiler alert, I think it still can get even stronger. So it's got 1 skill, but it's kind of a doozy. So, auto on Vanguard rear. You counterblast 1 and pitch a card when it attacks in order to lock one of the opponent's rear guards. Then, if there are 4 or more locked cards on the field, you lock a card in the opponent's damage zone. And then it gives a lot of reminder text about things like it can't be interacted and it unlocks the end of the opponent's turn. So, here's the thing, I'm not really quite sure what the real benefit of blocking an opponent's damage is. It feels like super niche and whatnot, and I don't even see like this feels like I get that it's kind of cool, but it feels like Dark Device on steroids that isn't really that impactful because your deck doesn't really revolve around it too much. Yeah, I don't know. It does give you a lock card technically. I don't like the cost. I think discard in Starvaders is pretty yikes for Starvaders. Sure, you get Radon and Mana Shot, but you have to be running those in the first place, and I think only Radon's really like debatable and as we know from Narcomi and Rising Phoenix, if you're trying to depend on pitching that one ideal pitch fodder, it's not going to work every time. It's going to feel bad. So I think with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5. I feel like this is just like weird and not even like in a very good way. I'm not I will say that locking the damage zone is kind of a cool thing, but it doesn't feel incentivized, especially since in order to lock the damage zone you need 4 more cards that are locked on the field like in the first place, so it doesn't even support a greater condition because you need that greater condition just to get in the first place. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on with this. What about you?
Well, the thing about this card is that it's actually really spammable, especially during your what do you call it? Your Nebula load turn. You can pretty much just gun them down with 25k, 50k columns technically. So like the thing about it is that a discard cost in Star Vader is like the only way to balance Star Vaders. Like you can see in the first wave of Flag Collection support that there's a lot, 2 cards that discard and another card that pretty much just drain your soul. Like, yeah, but so like the thing about it is that it's the only way to plus Star Vaders because before the Clan Collection support, Star Vaders they struggle in consistency, but they have a huge hand size. So discarding is like pretty normal cost for Star Vaders, but like they don't want to see make it seem like a complete downside, which is why they make Radon and Neon. But like this thing is actually like really good. The lock a card in your opponent's damage zone is just a niche additional effect, but in terms of what this does for Link Joker, it is pretty good. It's not really niche. It's just a decent card. Other than the fact that it doesn't have Star Vaders in the name, I would have given it like a 7 if it has Star Vaders in its name. But this is but it doesn't, so it's only gonna get a 6 from me.
Wow. Okay. Nice. You actually seem a little bit more convinced by it than I am. That's actually kind of surprising for me. You tend to be the more scrying eye between the two of us, so that's cool. So yeah, Manrat's got one more for us, and this one, oh boy, it's another Aquaforce unit. So go get those peepers ready, AssaultRider. So it's got 2 skills. First skill is on Van, which is when placed on Vanguard Circle or Rotopon. So no, this isn't the when attack or Rotopon. It's when placed on Vanguard Circle or Rotopon. So choose one of your Vans, and it gets the skill that during the battle that it attacked, your opponent has to pitch for every call they call to the Guardian Circle. If they don't discard, then they can't guard, period. It also has a Vanna Rare skill to get 2k for each of your rest rear guards, which is a neat little boost. Nothing to cry home about though. So yeah, this is insane with Tetradrive. Like, no doubt about it, and it does feel like an upgrade to the Transcore effect is the thing. It doesn't give Tetradrive like a buff, but it doesn't need to give it a buff in terms of power because it makes up for that by this super annoying ass effect that is like devastating. So I like that a lot. It feels right, you know? It feels right. It's definitely with theme. It's creative because I was thinking about how to adapt Transcore, and I was like, so how do you like buff up the Transcore effect? Another thing it doesn't do is it doesn't give a crit if they don't discard, which is fine because again, this is kind of insane. So it feels like a good modernization. I'm gonna give it a 9. I like Transcore a lot for Manran's interpretation. But what about you, local Aquaforce mate?
Well, So unlike the original Transfer, this does not have a 4 or more damage skill. The thing about the Aquaforce is that it can rush a lot, and the rush is devastating enough to end them. So this I don't think is properly balanced around the rush aspect of Aquaforce. But other than that, it is a fine upgrade to Transcore, and it does balance out well. But considering the rush turns of Aquaforce, I would change this to making it have a what do you call it, like well, I was gonna say like make it a limit, but
You know, if I might interject, one potential restriction you can place on this is give it like a wave restriction, where if they battle, if it's like the fifth attack of the turn, or fourth or fifth attack of the turn or more, that way you can't like do it with the first attack of Tetra Drive. And most of the Aqua Force decks, you don't like generally, for instance, like one of the only other cards that could really use this effectively, I feel, is Maelstrom. And with Maelstrom, the second attack is going to be the restanding after the third or fourth battle hit, quote unquote. So I think when you're doing restanding units, doing a wave restriction might be the best way to do it, because then they just physically can't like spam it very much.
See, the thing about that is that, what do you call it? The thing about it is that the original transport does not have a wave restriction, which is why it benefits so many, which is why it benefits like Tetra Drive the most. I don't think it should have a wave restriction, but at the same time, but at the same time, like this is not properly balanced around the Aqua Force Rush aspect. But I do think like if they give it any more restrictions, I'll let the original poster decide what restriction they wants to give. But sorry, but I don't.
You seem kind of conflicted by it a bit. Like it's almost there, but it's not like where it should be, right?
Like, I'll just give it a 6. I don't think like this is properly balanced around the Aqua Force Rush, because in the original you still need 4 damage for this thing to activate, which can actually take like a long time if your opponent decides to not give you the 4 damage, which means you cannot.
They're like, no, buddy, I'm not ready for that yet. Give me some time.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just give it a 6, because I don't think this is properly balanced around Russian.
All right, fair enough. So, and more of like the critical and because from my understanding, you're definitely someone who grades more on balancing, but also faithfulness to the original like aesthetic, and you also tend to like come from the clan collection ethos of card design, right? So with that in mind, yeah, I think 6 is pretty good ranking coming from you, man. I like that. So okay, Transcore Dragon definitely has a lot of potential. I like that from Manran. As a matter of fact, I think this is probably my favorite of the 3 he did. Although I will say Alexandros got better grades from us overall. I kind of personally like Transcore more, but I think that's go to show. So NeilPB. So this dude's pretty wicked. Not only did he make a lot of cards, like more than we actually can review tonight, he also made a template. And while I'm not gonna like review the cards tonight, I will just say right here is his link to his template. I'm gonna have that link in the description of this video. And he's got templates for all 3 of the formats, and they're very, very good. He has some very clean, crisp artwork with them. It looks good. It's actually kind of like perfect looking. Now, he has like notes about setup and all that. It does say there's a L'Oreal that was made ridiculous, but again, we're not reviewing it at the moment. We're gonna be saving that for a bit later, I believe. It sounds like you wanted to say something, bro.
We are going to save it for a dedicated video with like the other guy from the previous post who made like a third of a set of Bank Dream cards.
Yeah, that's gotta be its own video.
That's gotta be its own video, but don't worry, it is coming. We're gonna call it like. Actually, I forgot what we were gonna call it. Whoa, what did I say we were gonna call it?
I'd have to look at like the scrapped like video for the answer to that, because I don't recall, bro. I'm sorry. that was a heck of a night. But anyway, yeah. So Neil, that's our promise. But anyway, yeah, I'm repping it right here, the repping the template, and yeah, like I said before, he made a post of his own. So go ahead and check out that post. It's just a little bit above ours if you also want to get right on it. But yeah, all right. So moving on, we've got Viper the Killer Cobra. Wow, that is both epic and redundant. So this dude was the real G and decided that reverse Ayesha Who it is about Zeal reverse. So here's the Zeal reverse. Nope, stats actually are 1100, are 11,000 power rather than 13,000 power. So yeah, that's a bit different, and that'll be a trend. All of his stats here are actually like older stats. So when it's placed on Van Circle, you lock any number of your rear guards, and you get power equal to their power. But in addition, if you've got original Zeal in the Soul, it also gets their crits that were locked. And on top of that, it also has the lock cards be Omega locked. Wonderful. It has one final skill though. For each of your locked cards, your opponent's Vanguard is going to get minus 5k, and if you locked 3 or more cards, they also get drive minus 1. So yeah, this is active on the opponent's turn 2, and this is for all their Vanguards, so that means if they rewrite into something else, that new Vanguard also gets the minus drive. So sorry, machining. Someone kind of superseded your gimmick there. This is pretty insane. I'm kind of scared by this. I think that this card is pretty freaking cool, right? Because when you look at what this card can like physically do, it's a lot. Sure, okay, you need the Zeal to get all the extra crits, but depending on what force marker you play, which yeah, force markers in DP is actually like kind of a contentious thing. I tend to go for force 1, but I know a lot of like the greater minds, the Council of the Wise for the DP clan tend to stand force 2. So depending on what you do, this critical isn't even like that necessary for a pressure, but just the fact that you get the power regardless makes it very splashable with like Brad Black and whatnot. You can also splash it with Kaiser. And yeah, the minus buff is really in theme, and it's really devastating. I will say this actually feels a little bit too powerful for my taste. But I'm still going to give it. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you finish first.
Okay. So I'm a little bit. I to this day, right? I already looked at this, and I'm still kind of conflicted on what to grade it. But I'm going to tentatively give it a 8.5 because yeah, it's really cool, really powerful. But I actually feel it's a bit too powerful, which knocks it down a little bit. But what are your thoughts? You probably think about this a little bit different than I do.
See, like the thing about this card is that the crit. If you're going to play this with Kaiser and or Zero, like this thing is not going to be all that powerful. It's balanced. It's balanced because you need Zeal to get the crit, but Zeal is not something that you can get into Soul without Zeal himself. Like you either need to run Zeal or you put another Zeal into your Soul using Zeal, which is counterproductive. But like yeah, it's actually like really balanced. It doesn't need Kaiser and Zero, but if it wants Kaiser and Zero, you're not gonna get a crit, which does make your overall turn weaker, sort of, because there's no crit pressure.
That's debatable though, because you can still run Force 2, and in a deck that will like usually run crit triggers, like you can be threatening them with potential 3 damage on advanced swing anyway.
Yeah, that's true. But if you were to go Force 1, you can play this thing with like restanders, like Active Mass. You can play it with Miracle Ace, which would actually be more devastating. So like this card is balanced. It doesn't need a whole lot of the previous support. You just need Zeal. For this, and I think that's actually really good.
I mean, Zeal is a powerful rear too, to be honest.
Yeah. It is on playstyle, which can make like it can make like your timing a little clunky. Like if you were to go against a control clan, this thing can be, the value of this thing does drop. So I don't know if that on place is necessary.
The on place is necessary somewhat, and here's the thing. One card, and I'm going to post it on the screen right here, fellas. Brad Black. Brad Black is really key for this because it's on place from VC. So you can literally lock your rear guards that are already done battling for this effect after you superior ride it off of Brad Black.
So like this thing is balanced to me to work with Brad Black.
Right.
But honestly, I don't think like that should be done anyway. Like because when you think about flank collection, and the reverse and everything, this wants to lock stand regards, not rest regards. Like we went through this already, but like locking a stand regard during battle phase is essentially the same thing as locking a stand regard during main phase. So like realistically, this thing would want to lock stand regards, which is why like otherwise it's not balanced because you can use this with red light. So this should be an act, but it wants to lock stand regards.
Right. Like
maybe like
it has to give or take somewhere because of the Brad Black interaction. Yeah. So, what would you rank it then overall with all these facts? I mean, I already like put my shovel in the dirt, but you've got some time to consider it.
I'll give it like a 7. Like it able to work with Red Black is a little no. Don't do this.
Yeah, it's on the level of like drag ruler working with RFD. It shouldn't happen.
Like yeah, like if only we know what drag ruler does.
Foreshadowing.
Coming soon. Okay. But like if they really want to make this to work with Brad Black, it still needs the log any number of the stand records to balance it out, because otherwise like it wouldn't be a V reverse card. But other than that, yeah, I'll give it like a 7.
Yeah, pretty good score.
Good course. Oh wait, we didn't even talk about this great skill. We should really like read all of this before we give it a reading.
Oh well, yeah, I did read it, but I just didn't mention like these skills very much, to be honest. Do you have any impressions on these skills?
Okay, so the staying for during the turn they lock prevent star beaters, and they also prevent what do you call it? They like also like fuels the second skill. The one thing I praise about the third skill is that the drive -1 doesn't stack. So yeah, it is pretty well thought out, and it is also like an opposite of getting a drive +1 like the original Zeal. So I do like this. So yeah, it's still a 7 out of 10. But maybe we should like discuss all of the skills and get all of our points across first, and then we give it a rating.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, like let's because I do like read everything and then talk about it, but like my thoughts are a little bit more like overall. I don't like go through it skill by skill, but yeah, let's try to like format it like that, I guess. So next up is Assault Monster Gunrock, classic. I brought it up in the other video, but if you remember the fight between IG and Jun during Asia Circuit, Jun was like using Zeal, and he was also using things like Gunrock and Psychic Ray and whatnot. So this is cool. This guy picks some pretty classic Zeal companions. So auto van or rear, when it attacks a van, if that unit has 10k or more power, you can CB1 to -5k it, and if it has 6 or less power, you may draw a card. So wording on this is a little bit weird, but we'll get back to that. Auto, when placed on Guardian Circle, you Soul Blast 1 to choose one of the opponent's stand rear guards, and it gets -10k until end of turn. Wow. So I think this card is fairly phenomenal. The one thing that is a little bit weird is how it's worded with the 6k or less power, because I'm not sure, because I think that this was intended, but I'm not sure if it was worded correctly to allow it to be after you minus 5k, if it sticks to less, then you can draw a card. Because I think it should have said like then right here in order to let that happen, but I'm not sure. But other than that, it gives you a draw. It does the minus 5k shtick, which is the Zeal theme. It's tied behind a counterblast, so it's definitely impactful, especially since original Zeal has a counterblast behind it as well. And the guarding effect is very apropos. I think defensive skills are becoming more and more common. And this defensive skill is definitely like pretty cool because you can't minus 10k the thing that is attacking you immediately because you rest as a part of like attacking. But on the upside, this minus 10k is until end of turn, so if they have restanding rear guards that are going to be a nuisance to you, this can be pretty devastating. So, and it also doesn't work on the Vanguard, which can be cool because you're already like minusing the Vanguard a fair bit, so you don't bully it more. I'm going to give this card like a 9, honestly. I think the only thing that hurts is the fact that this wording's a little bit like iffy for me, but it only hurts slightly because again, I'm not so much a stickler on like the grammar of these things and their balancing. Usually, nah. I was a little bit of a stickler for Zeal though. So what's your perspective?
So like the way that the first skill is worded, it's making sure that the skill does not stack. So like if you minus 5 it and it has 6k or less power, like it cannot allow itself to draw. Because it needs a den for that to work. But I do think that but if that was the correct intention, I do feel that it should be like split into sections. Kind of like how Dunkley split the Pine Zone into drop thing into sections.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. But other than that, the defensive skill is like really good. Like it's really balanced. Soul Blast cost fitting because Seal feels soul. It minus 10k a rear guard that is standing. So you like it's not broken or anything. It's perfectly fine and balanced. So yeah, I'll give it like an 8.
All right, good on Gunrock. Okay, so moving on, we got Psychic Gray. So, oh, and by the way, Gunrock was a 9k instead of a 10k because force numbers. So yeah, that, like I said, these are going to be old stats. So this one's also an old stat of 7k for being a grade 1. It has one skill, but it's kind of wicked. So once per turn on rear circle, when it attacks or boosts, if the thing that's being attacked is 6k or less power, then your opponent's trigger effects are nullified for that battle. That's kind of insane, to be frank. Wow. I mean, it's just the one skill. It doesn't plus you anything, but it's pretty devastating because you're already like putting an underdog down under already. It feels like seriously, the defensive trigger is one of the only things that your opponent can hope for to like get some relief here. And this is just saying no. Although it is like for the battle, but again, like if it's against like a pretty big attacker, that's still going to be like mean because there's no cost behind this. It's not a hard once per turn.
Just no. Just no. Like you can have 3 of this in the back row. Like forget about Zeal Reverse for a second. In original Zeal, you can have this in the back row and your opponent can essentially do nothing about it. This should have a cost and and a requirement for it to be only on Vanguard. Either only on Vanguard or make it a short once per turn where you can only do this if you do not have any other back row regards. But yeah.
Some way to not let it be spammed, like really is the point. So what's like our rankings on this? Do you want to say it first or should I say it first?
I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Good concept, but it's peppable.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6. I kind of like the fact that it's a little bit of a bully card, but at the same time, it's the fact that it is a bully card is like so egregious, and I'm like, nah, okay. So yeah, that's our ranking on this one. So Psychic Gray's a little bit. And so for best card in like all these reveals tonight, we've got Larva Seal, Grade 0 with actually 6k power. Wow. So check out this skill, guys. It's really, really wicked, like revolutionary. When rode upon, draw a card. Okay. Then, if your opponent is grade 1 or greater, put a quick shield ticket into your hand. Mind blown. I can't even process it.
It's so good. It's so quirky, you know. It's so quirky.
Wow, it's like so the sheer originality of this is off the charts. I never would have conceived of a card like this. But okay. So moving away from the meme zone, what are you gonna say?
I would like new starters in V representing like the old starters. So what I think they should do? They should do like how they did festival collection, and they have all the reprints with all the old starters with the quick shield decks. What I think they should do is like make new starters and put them in there with like reprints over the cards. I think that would be really cool, right? Because we're missing like a lot of starters that fit for the client collection decks.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can just list them off like pretty highly here. And on top of that, I think we can get some triggers, right? Like we can get some triggers that we're kind of missing that could just like be transitioned over as well. So it'd be pretty cool, like festival collection overall. Like, for any of you guys who just feel like going on, if you could have one starter be a part of this hypothetical festival collection, what starter would you like to see come to V? Give us a comment down below. So yeah, Larva Seal. I'm going to. Are we ready to rank it?
You know damn well we're not gonna rank this thing. It's too good.
Yeah, I'm gonna rank it 10 out of 10 for realism, but I'm gonna rank it a meme out of 10.
If it's for realism, then it's gonna get a 0 out of 10.
Dang, okay.
Leave us both a starter and a trigger that you want. Just one of each.
Yeah, just what would you guys like to see coming over? So next up we got Frederick Code 05. Nice to see Frederick Code again. First time we did this, it was actually his custom card that we started all this off. So it's nice to go back full circle here. Anyway. So for today, he's got us an Glendios Stride, which is Death Star Vader Omega Brain Glendios. General stats as one would expect. He even denotes the Stride step, which is just going like the extra step, honestly. Good on you, mate. So it's got 2 skills. First skill is an act on Van Circle, which is if your heart card has Reverse or Omega in its name, you flip up a card in the G zone and pitch a card to put it back into the G zone face up, and then you search for 2 cards with the reverse that are different card names. You call them to front row, shuffle your deck, and they get -1 drive until end of turn. But those units are VC until end of turn, and during the end of that turn, you place them on the bottom of your deck in any order. This guy has another skill though, which is continuous in the G zone, which is if your G zone has 2 or more of this guy face up, the original power of your reverses become 13. So yeah, wow, this right here is so insane. Like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, so how many ways can I break this card? How many broken combinations of reverse units can we get? Like, okay, I'm thinking of so much. What would you say is like the most broken duo reverse combination?
Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. Like a lot of the reverse just doesn't pair up well with each other.
There's got to be something though. Like I know, like Maelstrom is probably going to be the nuts of some sort. I mean, one thing you can do is you can do like Maelstrom and Dauntless Dominate, but like don't even use Dauntless Dominate's like extra drive gaining ability, and just like purely do the retire all of your unlocked cards thing.
There's. I don't think you can use this with Maelstrom Reverse because you're not gonna be able to get the 4th battle.
Oh yeah, and there's no Excel cards because this is technically a Force clan at the end of the day, right? Never mind. Okay, so maybe Maelstrom Reverse is not like the way. Himiko though. Himiko can probably like use some extra self-locking, like Raging Reverse, like will give like a bunch of locks for Himiko. Oh god.
Like the most potent combination that you can get from this is Dauntless Dominate and Himiko Reverse.
Yeah, that's true. Just imagine getting all those extra triggers and then field wiping them.
Yeah, because like you can proc Dauntless Dominate's skill a lot of times. Like because like you're going to be doing a lot of drives per turn. So Dauntless Dominate is actually like really flexible in this case. And then you can just attack with Himiko. You place a card as a lock card, and then you can essentially activate your triggers 3 times, and then you activate, and then you attack with Dauntless Dominate. So as one, retire all of your lock cards that you unlock, and then the opening needs to retire 9 regards. So yeah, like Himiko and Dauntless Dominate is the most potent combination of this.
Yeah, I wonder if Dudley Emperor Reverse would have like any potential synergies. Because I know it's like main skill is proccing when there's a bot deck during like the battle phase, which isn't likely. But I know it's other skills when it attacks you can like search for a normal unit of your choice and call it. So that could be kind of a cool utilitarian option. But okay, I think we're getting a little bit far into this. If you guys have like any comments on what the most busted like combination, let us know. But do you have any thoughts on this before we start ranking it?
I do feel that this should be changed to only one reverse unit, because like the combination is fine and all, like and then like there's maybe some broken combination, but you're not gonna be able to utilize the reverse units well enough generally. Like when you take into account all of them, you're not gonna be able to do enough with all of them. So I do think that you should be able to only call one and turn that one into a Vanguard circle, no drives or anything. But yeah, that's about it. So ironically though, like it is fitting that the most potent combination can only be done with cards from Force clans.
When you think about it, yeah.
Because like you can use Himiko with a Cecilia reverse.
Let's see, Cecilia. Yeah, because you wouldn't get the re-ride, but you could get a restand.
Yeah. So yeah, like you can give it a crit as well. Tank it, crit to reverse.
Yeah, and I guess when you're looking at it from that way, the potential of this card isn't even fully realized because we haven't gotten the next wave of like reverse units yet. For all we know, something like an Amon reverse or a Vowing Saber Dragon reverse could like totally break this.
Yeah, but like, well, to go back on the point about Cecilia reverse, you do need to lock 2 standard cards to restand, and Himiko skills of needing number of lock cards, so it's not gonna be that broken or potent or anything of the sort. So, but like, you know, that goes back to my point that this thing does need to focus on only one reverse unit. Well, wait. No, Cecilia reverse wouldn't even work because it needs to restand a rear card, not a Vanguard. Never mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right, because it's not. Oh, it's a van. Oh crap, that's right. Yeah, so actually when you think about it, this card might actually not be like it seems like it would be busted at first, kind of like how Castile, the Strike Castile was, but then these reverse units actually kind of like conflict with each other somewhat. So I don't know, ironically enough, I think I'm going to rank this a 9 because I'm much more big on like the creativity, but I think this the fact that you can enable them as bands and like enslave them is such a cool imagery, and it's like a good evolution of the Glendios playstyle. But I'm not going to give it the 10 because it hasn't quite given me like the super dazzle factor, although spoiler alert, there will be one specific card that gives me the super dazzle 10 factor. But yeah, and like, what about your ranking?
I'll give it a 6. It is creative. It's like it's not really what do you call it? It's not broken or anything. It's creative. The core concept is cool. but this can still lead to potential problems come together well. It does conflict a bit, but being able to use two at the same time like that, it might lead to problems in the future. So I'll just give it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, future proofing's pretty tough that way. You make a pretty good point there. All right, and with that, this will be the end of part 1, and we'll be heading on into part 2. See you guys there. Bye bye.